show. Heeb and Goy, Heeb and Goy. Two old men who like to complain. Heeb and Goy, Heeb and Goy. We hope that you will come back again. Bienvenidos.
And we're back.
Numero 15. Number 15. Believe it? 15 of these already.
Is this?
It's
No
pretty good.
shit. That's amazing.
Yeah. So,
welcome back to the Heeb and Goy show. I'm Bruce the Goy.
I'm Dan the Heeb, and we have a fun-filled show planned for you today. So I'm going to start right off with, so those of you, the three of you who listen, know that I've been working on getting a pair of college girls, a friend's daughter and one of her roommates to come on. And we really, I'm just fascinated by the life of a good-looking 21-year-old girl. Fascinated by it. Like, what's it like? What is that like? So the girl, I'm not going to do names, but so my friend's daughter is a really nice girl. I've known her since she was a kid. We're tight, and she was excited about it. She starts asking her roommates, and her roommates, she couldn't get anybody. Like it was total here.
So she was like, "Hey, I got my Uncle Dan and this other guy. So I don't
know. Okay, so I don't know how she phrased it, but I said to her what I said. I
can imagine.
I said, because she knows about this podcast, and I said, it's going to be fun. It's going to be just, us chatting with you about what it's like being young with your whole life ahead of you, and like what's the world like for you? Because we can't see the world through their eyes, and I'm fascinated by it. So she was totally down with it, but I said I don't want it to be just you because it's just weird with two dudes chatting you up and whatever.
Yeah, it's weird.
She says okay, and so I know one of her roommates by name because I've met her a few times. So why don't you call her? And let's call her Jane. That's not her real name, but let's say ask Jane. And she said, okay. Well, Jane's busy that day. Okay. All right. Well, I said, it doesn't matter who it is because it's any of you, your buddies. So she said,
obviously assuming that they're attractive.
Well, I'm not going to say that, Bruce, but they are. Hold on. I got to put the fan on. I'm schwitzing. Hold on.
You are schwitzing. Yeah, he's definitely schwitzing. He's like moving around. He's doing stuff.
So okay, I'm not going to say to her, make sure they're hot. I'm not going to do that. So
well, we can just assume, you know.
But as luck would have it, all of her roommates are good looking. So
of course.
Matter. So yeah, I'm like, okay, that's fine. So the day goes by. We're getting towards the end of the day. This is like Wednesday, something like that. And I didn't hear anything. And I'm like, because she seemed pretty down with it. And so finally I reach her and I'm like, so what's the deal? Can you guys come? She goes, I can't find anyone who wants to do it. I go, why?
Oh my God.
She goes, it's social media footprint.
And so that is fascinating.
Yeah. So this is what these kids have to think about now. They come on this podcast with these alta-cockers talking about
these two they go on a podcast, they're young, they go on a podcast with two 50-year-old white guys and something, however it goes, they have no control over it. None. If there's a little snippet or something that seems like off color or fucked up, it's the footprint. It's there for the rest of their life. Something can go wrong.
Even though we could very well not have used their real name and all that, but
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
So
that's
for about a split second, I was annoyed. Then I thought to myself, yeah,
they're right. They are 100% right.
Because you and I don't have a lot to lose in the sense that, you're a vagrant and unemployed.
Right.
And me and I'm employed, but I'm self-employed. And like, even if my employer saw this, they'd be like, I don't give a shit.
We don't care.
He's complaining about, drivers who don't go left at the turn arrow.
Right. We don't care.
He's not talking about us. And he's not talking about his job, although I'm going to do that.
They got their whole lives ahead of them. And that,
yes.
Plus it's like, hey, do you want to go on this podcast? And of course I'm thinking the girls are probably like, well, what podcast, right? Like something big that it's my uncle and his friend who like, maybe they get like 5 views and they're thinking, it's not worth the risk.
Well, no, that's for sure. That's true. I mean, that's implicit. but she knows, like, I just know this girl so normal. I would never do this unless I knew him really well. So it's fine. We're gonna forego that. I have a possible backup plan that is much less uncomfortable of an interview. I'm not going to go into more detail. I want it to be a surprise if it happens.
Okay, good. I love it when Dan surprises me with this.
So
there's very little. I got to tell the audience, there's very little prep work that goes into this.
Yeah, you're looking at it.
And there's the Dan just like text me like, hey, we're doing the podcast, so let's do it on Sunday. And I'm like, I text Dan, I'm like, I got nothing to talk about. I got like one or two things. And he's like, yeah, fuck it. We just, we'll just wing it. These are a lot like our phone calls that we used to have back in the day. This whole podcast is based around these fucking phone calls we used to have back in the day.
Basically.
Yeah.
But, I come in with a couple of topics I want to hit, and then we just
I got a couple. I thought of a couple.
Yeah, so I want to slide into what I want to talk about.
Well, okay. Before you go, that's interesting. That's sad, of course, that the girls are not going to be on like that, but 100%.
We haven't shut the door. I said to her, hey, I know. If any of your roommates or anyone changes their mind and you're bored one Sunday, we do this every Sunday.
I have an idea.
No big deal. Whenever you want to do it.
Dan, I got another good out of the box idea. You give them the option. So we do the podcast. We record the whole thing. You then let them watch the whole thing and have them give the thumbs up, thumbs down.
Veto.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
So they can watch the whole thing and go, are we coming off bad? We don't like this. And thumbs up, thumbs down. We don't release it if they want. Even then, they're probably like frosty at the idea, like, fuck that. They can do whatever they want. So
I mean, I agree. So I'm leaving the door open. I have a backup. We'll see if that comes to fruition, but we'll go ahead and slide. I have getting the Heisman is this segment because that's what we got from these girls. The old, remember you used to say when a girl would turn you down, you're getting the Heisman. Looks like
you get the Hucklebuck. You know what I mean? Like sort of like.
So I have another segment that I thought you might it's a little boring, but I thought you might have some interesting take.
Let's see. So I get bored easily. Okay, what is this?
It's called employee or contractor.
I don't know. This seems like I'm going to be bored right off the bat. But like, okay, let's go.
No, but you'll like this. You'll see.
All right, let's
go.
So
I have been self-employed since 2006. It's a long time.
Yeah.
What that really means is I work for you. You pay me hourly, and you don't have to pay healthcare, and you don't have to do a 401k, and there's no paid time off. So if I take a vacation, I ain't getting paid.
Yeah.
And that's the deal.
You're somebody that somebody hires.
But the deal with being a contractor, in my mind, I want to see if you agree, like you're giving up healthcare, benefits, paid time off, but you're getting basically freedom to say, look, I'm out tomorrow and there's nothing you can say. You don't own my time. As long as I accomplish what you need to get done, as long as I'm not cutting into your potential, the things you need me to do, then you got nothing to say, right?
100%. That's true. That's one of the perks.
So there's been a shift at my job, and it happened a couple.
Hold on, aren't you worried about your social media footprint? Because this is going to affect your job.
There will be no names or companies mentioned.
Okay, all right, let's be clear.
So, and I will say the people that I work with that I'm going to talk about, they're nice. I get along.
In fact, this is a whole hypothetical situation, in Dan, isn't it? Like this whole thing is hypothetical.
Okay, sure.
Right.
I don't care. I'll talk about it. So,
all right.
I've been on this job for about 3 years, and it's been fine. It's been exactly what I described if I am a contractor. But a couple weeks ago, it was like a Tuesday, and I knew I'd have to take some time off that Friday, meaning like the afternoon, like from 2 to 5, 3 hours in the afternoon. So normally what we do in that case is I just notify them that I will not be there, just so they know if something comes up, they want to schedule me for something, or they'll know I'm not there. That's all.
Heads up.
So I do that like I've done the past 3 years, no problem. And all of a sudden I get a note from a person and they're like, did you clear this?
Did you clear this?
Yeah. And I'm like, what do you mean? Well, you need to make sure that, the people you're working with, are cool with it, are okay with it.
You're like, bitch, I've never had to clear anything ever. What do you mean clear?
So I was so taken aback by it that I answered. I'm like, well, we don't really work that way. I put it in, and if it's a problem, if they see this notification, they're like, oh shit, Dan, we had something scheduled then. They would tell me that, and then we would work around it. So I was was just sort of taken aback. And so I separately talked to this person later, and I said, I just want to clear this up. So I'm a contractor, right? So the person said, well, I personally don't treat employees different than contractors. And I thought to
Excuse
myself,
me, what was that sentence again?
I personally don't treat employees and contractors differently. In other words, whatever
Oh,
rules.
no.
And I'm like, but it's not the same.
It's
You
not
don't
the
get
same.
both. If you want me to be here 9 to 5 without fail,
Yeah.
and with and no ability to take time off without a lot of notice and clearing it and all that, then you got to give Big Daddy some.
You got to choose one or the
healthcare.
other, honey. You can't get the cake and eat it too.
It's one or the other. That's right.
Yeah, it's
and
totally one or the other.
I'm perfectly happy to work in this arrangement where I own my own time, but you tell me what you need to get done, I get it done. But other than that, you don't control when I work or what my hours are. And anyway, I just figured you might have
Well, 100%. I mean, I keep watching these videos on like I would be irritated too. There's definitely a lot of things where employers keep pushing the envelope of things that they want their people to do. Hey, by the way, I need you to put your work email on your home phone so we can reach you sometime after 5 o'clock. But so they keep pushing. But the good thing about this culture right now is that employees are pushing back. They're like, no, you don't have access to me after 5 o'clock. Yeah. I watched this whole series of videos where people are like, hey, you got to get to work early so that you can prepare for our 8 o'clock meeting. You work from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock. You got to be ready. I noticed you weren't online. And then the employee's like, oh, I walk in the door at 8 o'clock on the money. I'm here. Yeah. Well, we really need you to be there at 7:30 so everything's set up. Do you pay me at 7:30? No. So this old sort of antiquated way of thinking like, yeah, we do extra for the job and blah, blah, blah. I know this isn't exactly employee contractor type thing, but it's the same sort of vibe. Like, people that employees are not putting up with any bullshit anymore. And I'm so here for it. I love it. And what's going on with your place is that they're trying to push the envelope, right? That sentence that you told me is infuriating. I sort of entreat employees and contractors the same. Bitch, it doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. I'm one or the other. If I'm an employee, there's pros and cons to that. There are parameters which I will agree to work in or not. Or I'm a contractor. And I've been watching a bunch of videos about a contractor where like the guy gets text messages. The guy's a contractor, same situation as you, right? And he gets text messages that say like, hey, I really need you to go to this Zoom meeting. We're all having a Zoom meeting at like Thursday at 5 o'clock. Guy's like, oh, no, I'm not going to be there. It's like, well, you're part of the project. Yeah, I'm a contractor. Am I being paid to go to that meeting? No. Well, then I'm not going to go to that meeting.
In my case, I am paid to go to meetings, right? But
well, whatever the parameters are for that contractor.
So like if I looked at the calendar and I saw there was a meeting during the 2-3 hour period I was going to be gone, I would know that's a problem. And I would either not take the time off or I would arrange to attend the meeting on my phone or something. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the whole point is it was a sudden shift too. Like the past 3 years, this has never happened. And then all of a sudden, bam. I think you hit it. I think there's definitely a new thing going on. There's this culture shift amongst kind of the employers where it's like we just want more. And
it's funny they're hitting at each other like at the same time. Like the employers, they're wanting more, right? They keep pushing you. They want more. By the way, with no extra perks, no raise in pay, nothing. They just want more. Come back to the office. All this bullshit. And then the employees at the same time are like, no, employees are setting some very clear boundaries down. What I will or not, I will not fucking get here early to set up. If I'm being paid from 8 to 5, I'm walking in the door at 8. Yeah. Then I'll turn on my computer maybe around 8:05. And if there's a meeting at 8 o'clock on the money, I'm not going to make it because I'm walking in the door. I'm sorry. And then the employers are like, oh, can't you get here 15 minutes early? No. You don't pay me 15 minutes early. Seems petty, but they keep pushing it.
I'm not that extreme, but I am going to hold tight to this, which is the next time I need to take time off, the next time I'm going to be gone for a day or half a day, I'm not, if there's any, because I push back a bit And I'm hoping that
good
the
for
next
you.
time,
No, absolutely push back.
I was nice. I was nice about it. And I told this person, because the person who gave me that, who said that to me, is relatively new. And I just said, look, this is how we've always done it.
Yeah.
I let them know ahead of time, not like the same day. I let them know ahead of time, hey, but this is gonna be a problem. If this is how it's gonna be,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a problem.
I'm glad.
I'm not.
I'm proud of you for setting up boundaries like that. And if this person that you're talking about is new in the organization, you know, they probably came in there and their bosses were like, look, we need you to shake things up and keep the needle moving in the right direction, blah, blah, blah. And so this person wanted to hit the ground running and like corral. I don't entreat employees and contractors. I treat them the same. That if that is such a shift overnight, then that's definitely something that they had a meeting about.
Yeah.
And that is fucked up. I'm 100% with you on that. Good for you.
Yeah.
You know what, Dan? I'm proud of you for just saying like, excuse me. No, that's not how it works. And I'm setting up those boundaries. I will not be available for you during those times if that's not what I agreed upon.
No, it's not. We'll see how it goes. I push back. We'll see if it.
Good.
We'll see if that moves the needle next time. But
good. Fuck the man.
I was just thinking how, like Office Space, it's just so fucking evergreen. That movie.
Oh, it's just getting worse. It's just getting worse and worse and worse.
I mean, it's just. It really is amazing. Dan. Like between there's the Bobs. You got
so now Dan's showing pictures of the Office Space, which is a great movie, which hit it on the head
in 1999.
Yeah, I mean that was a long time ago, and I see a lot of these I follow a lot of these anti-work pages where people are like pushing back towards this work culture, this toxic, archaic work culture, and people are definitely like, no, I'm not putting up with this shit anymore. Like I'm not.
Yeah, there's been a shift. I do like
so
that.
Great.
I do like it. I mean, love it. I'm not quite that guy. Like I'll put up with. I'm at a point in my career. It's like whatever stuff doesn't really bother me a lot, but that is where I would draw the line. Like the entire reason that I do this, where I do not get healthcare and I do not get paid time off and I do not get a 401k and I don't get dental and I don't get whatever. The entire reason I do that is because I don't want to be treated that way.
And it's funny. There's definitely like a whole craft of office speak to like use like a very mild passive aggressive tone, but also being very like, well, okay, Janet. Well, if that's going to be the way that we work moving forward, I'd be happy to discuss payment packages and compensation to reflect my new role in this company. Like make it very clear, like, are we moving to do this? Okay, this is what I want. Blah, blah, blah. Like there's pushback. I love it. I'm so tired of this fucking culture, And it's like, no, fuck this. We're not, I'll tell you, there's a movement and the young people are we are not having it. It's fucking great.
Which is interesting.
I like how I said just now, like as if I'm young.
As if you're young. It's interesting though, because one thing I have learned from kind of poking around the job market a little bit is you say young people aren't having it, but young people is what they want. Like
they want young people.
I am 100% certain that I have been negged for many a job because I'm older.
So this is another topic, and this is 100% true. I've seen it with you. I have another very good friend, the guy that runs my Etsy page, same exact age as us, same background, everything. And I've got a couple more people who are the same age and background as us, everything. We're talking 50 to 55. Absolute discrimination when it comes to trying to get a job because like, oh, this guy's old, And even though we got the skill sets, no problem. These companies want somebody young and desperate and someone that they can really manipulate. That's what they want. They want a young person just so burdened down by college debt and its student loan debt that they're just be willing to fucking suck rocks for whatever they need to do and just grovel at the feet of some company. Because people like us, we're like, I could, whatever. I'm not desperate. I'm not going to put up with any bunch of bullshit. And, it's part of this very toxic work culture that's going on right now. But I know what you're talking about. And like, I've just for fun, I've been not retired, but I quit my job 2 years ago just to be an artist full time. And I'm very poor. And every once in a while, I'll start like looking through jobs on like Facebook Marketplace or whatever. And I read these job descriptions and I just get a sense of dread. Like I can't, there's no way I'm doing any of this. And it's not like I can't physically do it. I just think I just don't have like the job
Oh,
description is always
yeah.
like this really long ass thing.
Yeah.
We need you to do all this shit, and then here's the payment, and we need you to do like the demands of what they want per what they're going to pay don't fucking add up. That's right. It's like, to put it simply, if they wanted a dishwasher back in my day, would be like, well, that's a guy who comes in and washes the dishes, right? But now it's going to be like, you got to wash the dishes, you got to do this, help take orders sometimes.
You got to be
mobile orders,
customer
got to
facing,
be customer facing, all this and fucking. And then another term they like to use as is further tasks as deemed needed or something like, I forget the word, but it's basically like basically anything else we come up with, we're going to tell you. So you don't even have the choice to say, these are the parameters in which I've been hired. They put in a sentence that's like, anything else we decide to give you to, hey, go stand on the corner and juggle. You know, one time I was hired as a screen printer. I'm like, okay, so I'm screen printing shirts. The guy's like, hey, I need you to take the sign and go stand out on the corner with the sign. You know, the side sprinter. True story. Yeah. And I was like, that's not part of my job. And is it demeaning? Yeah, whatever. But looking back, you know what I did? I made it fun. Like, I took that sign, Dan, and I discovered like I'm a really good sign spinner, and I enjoyed it more. I enjoyed it more than screen printing, because I was able to stand out on the corner and just fuck around with the sign, and I got the people to honk their horns. No,
what was it for?
If for the screen printing shop. I was working in a screen printing shop.
Okay.
And the guy's like, I need you to take this t-shirt. Like, it was a sign that was the shape of a t-shirt that said, we print shirts here. Go out there next to the busy road and just hold it up and move around and point. And I'm like, really? And I'm an old man. They're like, yeah, go do it. I'm like, okay. So went out there and I sorted like, I was doing, Dan, it was very X-rated. I was like simulating fellatio. Like this thing like, oh, like this. And the people were honking their horns like, yeah, construction guys, and everyone's honking their horn. He saw me, what I was doing out there, like, oh, and he was like, okay, get in. You can't be doing that. You can't be doing that.
No, that's not cool.
I had some fun. But what else we got going on?
So one of the topics you sent me in text I found fascinating. It looks like a fun one.
This is a good one.
People with no hobbies.
Right. No, I knew you would like this topic, Dan. I just was talking with Ro a little bit about this, and so you might, sometimes you'll see on Facebook, and I'm not okay. I don't understand when somebody writes, "I'm bored," on Facebook. I'm bored. Like, I can't even wrap my fucking head around being bored, and I'm 55, and the last time I was bored, truly bored, was probably an algebra class back in high school, where you're just sitting there and you're bored because whatever. And so, we all have hobbies, things that we like. I mean, you've got the pigs. I've got too many fucking hobbies and interests. And so it's just very interesting to see. Ro was talking about one of her friends who is a woman in her 50s who is constantly writing on Facebook like, oh, I'm bored. I'm bored. And we were talking, how the fuck, and I'm just interested in, do you understand people that are bored? Like, is that a fucking weird thing for me to say and to not, because I always have the things that I'm interested in doing that I want to do. And I have lots of interests and I don't have time to get to all these things. I've got Wasteland. I've got cosplay. I've got fucking the soccer games. I've got all the, art, music, but it just goes on and on and on. And I've got more hobbies and interests than I have time to do them, quite frankly. And I've always been that way. And when I see someone post on Facebook, I'm bored, I don't get it. Am I completely out of hand for thinking this?
I mean, I can understand the notion of being bored. I certainly understand the concept, but yeah, I think I'm more intrigued by the notion of people not having hobbies than I am with somebody, because you can have hobbies and still be bored for whatever reason.
Okay,
right?
That's fair. Yeah.
Like, I have hobbies, but it's Sunday at 3:15. I know I have to feed the pigs in an hour and I'm just going to sit here. I got nothing to do, whatever. But I have met people like this before that just don't really have interests and they don't really have hobbies.
Right.
And like they're
It's
like,
weird, right? Is it me or is it weird when you have no?
I know I have experience in this regard, and I have people that I know, can't name names, one who might be in my extended family who is like this, and it's like, and it comes through in conversations too, because you try and have a conversation with them, and there's just nothing there. You're like, so
Nothing. There's
you know,
nothing.
yeah, it's like, and it's for the same reason I hate small talk. It's kind of the same idea where all these people can do is small talk. That's all they have. Like, hey,
Yeah.
how you doing? How's the weather? How are you? Oh, how's your mom? Okay.
It's vapid. The word is vapid. We love that word.
Vapid. And it's interesting. When I think about it, I'm sure these people must have hobbies. They must have something they're interested in, right?
I don't think they do, though. They don't. It's and a lot of times it's like, I think it's a curse that happens to like people our age too. Like, right? Like, I don't know. Like they've like I think what happens with a lot of people is that they have kids, and then they become like having a parent or having kids is their whole role. Then the kids sort of like go to college, or it's an empty nest syndrome, and then it's just like, well, I'm bored. And it's like, wow, you've lived your whole life, and there's nothing going on.
That's a whole separate.
It's a separate thing, but there are still people with no hobbies.
There's a fine line. There's a fine line between throwing yourself into your kids' lives and into being a parent, which is good, right, and completely sort of flushing yourself and what makes you down the toilet. There's a fine line.
Yeah.
I've known people who've been able to walk that line very well and who were extremely involved parents, but also continued to be themselves. But then I know other people who completely went into this rabbit hole. Yeah. And it's interesting. The ones that I know who went in the rabbit hole eventually came out. They eventually like, okay, I can't, this is not good. My brain's turning to mush. But yeah, that's definitely part of it. But I only know a couple people like this who I would say, there's nothing there. They got no hobbies. They got no interests. Like, typically these people also tend to sort of repeat things they read, like kind of have their opinions given to them. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, so they saw XYZ posted by whoever or whatever news outlet or whatever person, and that's suddenly how they feel too. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you can't really get them to talk about it because they can't really expound on it more than the 3 sentences they read. Yeah. So, yeah, I know a couple people like that too.
So yeah, it's just weird when I see somebody with like no hobbies. And then I was talking with Ro about like, well, what is like hobbies versus interest, right? And it's like a Venn diagram, and they sort of like will overlap a little bit. Like a hobby is like, say you like, building model airplanes. It's usually something with your hands. I don't know. And an interest might be like, well, I'm a big Game of Thrones fan, and maybe I like everything about Game of Thrones, and it's not really a hobby watching TV. So like, it's kind of like a gray area, whatever. But I think what I came out to is the word passion, right? Like if you live your life and you're not sort of passionate about, like even like slightly passionate about something, fucking anything, and you just sort of through life and you just like work, I mean, it's got to be a curse. I don't know if it's a curse. Like I can't even fucking wrap my head around.
Those people are out there, though. I mean, they're out there, and you nailed it. The ones that I know fit that description perfectly. Like basically, they go to work, they come home, they do their shit, and they don't really seem. You're right. It's a passion about something.
Passion.
I don't care what it is that you're into. Even if it's something I hate, even if it's something I can't stand, we can still have a conversation, right? We can still chat, yap, shoot the shit. But when you got nothing and it's just platitudes and small talk and, or talking about yourself, like, because that's another thing these people like to do too, is sort of talk about themselves. Like, oh, well, I achieved in my job and I received, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's vapid when I talk to somebody. Like I got a couple people, like I was talking to this one person, and it's always they talk about work, and they work at a boring office job, and it's like, oh my God. And every time you talk to them, you're like, I'm just going to hear about their boring office stuff. They're going to ramble on about it. And I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, I don't know. But like, I got too many hobbies, and it's crazy now because now I don't have a job, so I have time for hobbies. I got time for my hobbies, but you know what's funny? I don't find myself really packing my day with them. Dan, I like to rest. You know what I mean? Like,
of course,
I'll do some hobbies, but I will just fucking rest. And that is something that I think that human beings have devolved away from. Like large mammals in the animal kingdom, they do a lot of resting. You know, there's large chunks of the day where they're not just sleeping, they're just sort of resting and conserving their energy and stuff like this. Large mammals do this. And we don't do that. What do? Keep drinking caffeine so we can get things done. Got to get things done. Got to keep moving forward. And that's another cultural thing too. Like that drives me nuts too. This whole like hyper productive culture, like constantly like, no, I'm separating myself from that too. Like, you want to call me lazy? Fine. Fucking call me lazy. I don't care. I'm resting. You know, I don't give a fuck.
I wouldn't say in your case it's lazy. I think you just have different priorities. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with it. You've chosen to take a different path. And honestly, like, there's part of me that is jealous. I mean, in a year's time, when I'm done with my move and building the house and blah, 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 I will be in position maybe to.
Yeah, I don't think you're the type of guy that's this like crazy hustler. Like you definitely have a good balance where I feel like you rest when you need to rest. You listen to your body and stuff. You're not like one of these fucking work cult guys. You know what I mean? I don't think so.
But I am very type A. And so, and I'm 50 now, so I'm not as bad as I used to be, but I'm very type A. And so, I am that guy to a degree. The difference I think is I soured on the rat race many years ago. Like, I realized it wasn't for me. And it's tough because you have to earn a living. Right. And
it's tough. I mean, remember we used to listen to Howard Stern. He had this book called Getting Things Done. He was super, Howard was very, and so he had this book called Getting Things Done, right? And I was completely drawn into it back then. So I bought the book Getting Things Done. And I was always for many years like, oh, I have to get a list. I got to keep moving forward. So I was cleaning up my office the other day and I saw this book Getting Things Done. Then I threw it right in the trash.
I'm like,
I'm tired of getting things done. You know what? I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to lie around and fucking rest. Getting things done. How about I do this right in the trash?
That was the beginning.
I threw it right in the trash.
End for him. It's a cult. It's a cult.
Yeah.
And
I was like, I'm not getting things done.
I'm right in the middle there. I think on the one hand, I'm very driven, and so I have that. But I think for me, and I think you'll agree with this. You got two things. You got money and you got time. Okay.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, when you're talking about business things, it's one or the other. What's more important, money or time? You want more money?
Right.
You want more time. You want more money? You want more time. So for me, time is more valuable than money. For me.
100%.
But it's a balance because I can't earn nothing. I have to earn a living. So, but I will always want to be a contractor. I will always want to be self-employed. I will always want to be able to make my own hours. And that means I will make less. And that means I will not ever be like a management guy, which is fine with me. I didn't want to do that anyway, but it's limited me. But at the same time, I've never had to play that game. Like not for 20 years now.
I mean, I get it. And it's totally like I talked about before, like COVID definitely was the thing that made me think, oh, time is infinitely more valuable than money. I get it's a balance and stuff like this, but just like, you know what I mean? Like, you ever have a Facebook friend die? So I found out last night that a Facebook friend of mine died. Now, it's not somebody that I really knew super close. It was a friend from back in the punk rock days, and she was like a first crush of mine or whatever. And I don't have a lot of social interaction with her or whatever, but definitely our age, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I found out, actually, she was a little younger. And I found out like, oh, did you hear so-and-so died? And I'm like, what? So, when you're 50 something and people start to die, and for whatever reason, you're like, fuck, dude, it's time. It's fucking time. And I just keep thinking about like, what if you were like one of these people that just, you have to work to your 68 so that you can take Social Security and but what if you work right up to the day that you die? I just think that is just the saddest thing that I can think about. And so here's why I've been working since I was like 15, 14, making box lunches for my dad. Work. Even though I was in a band, it's still a job. You're working.
Of course.
Screen printer, blah, blah, blah. You're working. So I'm 55 now. I stopped working at 53. When I tell you the past 2 years of my life have been the best 2 years of my whole life, dead poor, but I do what I want to do every day. And I scrape and, try to get some money. I'm selling my truck, to try to get some money just to live. I kind of don't care if I were to die tomorrow, because here's why. If I were to die tomorrow, the past 2 years have been worth it to just not fucking work. I just make art and I sell it. I'm poor as fuck and I have no long-term plan. But boy, it really is eye-opening. You know what I mean? It's like this, you get the veil is just lifted. And then finding out Facebook friends that die at that age. She was working. Yeah. Have you had a Facebook friend die? Like someone that's our age? Like, what the fuck?
Yes. Yes, it's happened to me.
And it's shocking, right? You're like, Jesus, they were young. What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, every passing day, it's less abnormal. Put it that way.
That's true.
But yeah, I mean that dovetails into it. I mean, what's more valuable, time or money? I mean, for me, I mean, people have asked me like, would you take a job, a regular W-2 working guy employee job? And I would if it was just it was a company that I was really into and I really believed what they were doing and that kind of thing.
The planets would have to align for something like that to happen, right? Like something really.
Yeah, it would have to be just, it would have.
Do you have a surprise? Do you have a surprise guest lined up?
I do. How did you know that?
Because Dan, I can hear you like sort of clicking around over there, and I'm looking at your facial expressions, and dude, I'm very perceptive.
Okay, so
you got.
I'm letting them in. Hey, can you guys hear us?
Oh yeah, what's going on here?
Let me put the camera on hand.
Okay,
who's this? It says Hughes. It says Hughes fan.
So these are friends of mine. They are.
Here we go.
30-ish.
Oh, look at this crew.
Okay.
Look at this crew. Look at this guy. Look at the gold chain. This guy's got a gold chain.
He does.
Look at this. This guy's got suns out, guns out, right? Look at him.
So, Titus back here.
We've got the kids.
They got kids.
And there's Mila, who's like 12 now, I think, probably.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, God. She doesn't remember that guy. So let me give you a little background on these two, Bruce.
What's going on here?
We've often talked about what it must be like going through life as a good-looking person. Because
this guy's good-looking right off the bat.
You and I do not. So these guys are younger. They're like 30. But
they're both 30?
Yes.
First off, hold on.
30.
Hi, my name is Bruce. What is your name?
Micah, and this is Jennifer.
Micah and Jennifer. Hello, Micah and Jennifer.
Hi.
They're both very attractive people in their 30s.
Yeah, 31.
31 and
30.
Jen just turned 30.
So
oh my God.
In my personal life, this is the best looking couple I know in the wild. Like
I've
seen better looking people on television and stuff, but so Jen used to be a dancer for the University of Florida. And so she went through life getting a lot of attention from people. And she's told me stories before about like some of the stuff that happened to her. And I'm just fascinated by the lives of people. Bruce and I are not good looking. Okay.
No.
So let's just right off the bat.
Different species of human. Like,
Right.
No, she's right. It is a different species of human.
Yeah.
She's absolutely right.
No one's looking at us. Nobody's checking us out. No one's coming up to us and saying, "Hey, can I?"
In fact, people. Dan tells me like sometimes people recoil at the sight of Dan, and that is true.
Visual disgust. I see.
Yeah.
It can't be just all like looks. I mean, you are somewhat standoffish if you don't know you too. So that.
Hold on, let me get into this. So you know Dan, and you think that Dan is standoffish, like as a vibe that he gives off?
I would say if you don't know him, yes.
Yeah.
To go into that a little more, what do you mean by that?
I would say like, he may not give off the warm the warmest vibes.
No.
No, I'm an IT guy. I want people to leave me alone. I want to stare at them from across the room and be left alone. Yes.
Nice.
Yes. But
I love that.
Aside from that, like going through
aside from the vibe, we're both still not attractive.
Going through life with charisma and looks gives you a huge leg up in life. Huge.
Right.
I would trade 50 IQ points to have that. Right. And I'm fascinated by people who have that. I'm fascinated what it must be like on a day-to-day basis.
I think it works more for females for sure. And
yes.
In their favor.
I think that's probably true.
I do have a downside.
Okay.
What's the downside? What could it possibly be?
Downside. Well, first of all, Dan and Bruce, hello. I am like, thank you, first of all. But I would say, like, to be honest, there, especially, like, I work at a high school, and the coworkers that I have, like, I feel like sometimes in my job, like, I work with people who are, like, you know, older, like, maybe a little younger than my parents, maybe like 40s, 50s, and I'm doing the same job. And I feel like I'm looked down upon, like, oh, this person can't possibly be smart. This person can't possibly be a hard worker because they've gotten everything handed to them. So I do feel like those are the stereotypes that I have to beat daily. And it's very frustrating because I do work really hard and I have a degree from UF, and I feel like people are like, oh, you probably just got in because you danced and like you didn't actually earn the rigor and academia side of things. But I'm constantly having to like prove that side that goes unseen sometimes. I feel like people judge you right off the bat based on that, and then it's like, oh, well, once you get to know me, level. So
I mean, that makes I gotta say something. That makes a lot of sense, right? And what she said is absolutely true. That said, I think I would still rather deal with that than being ugly like I am right now.
Yeah.
I mean, does that make any sense? I forgot her name. Was her name Jen?
Jen. A little background on Jen.
Jen, I'm sorry. I didn't want to offend you by saying that, but I think that I mean,
the worst
thing
thing,
it would be nice to be that good looking.
The worst thing about Jen is there's not really a negative. Like, you expect somebody very good looking to have some really big, like they're a bitch or they're stupid or they're awful or they're mean and they kick cats.
Dan, should we be cursing with like kids? Hold on. Should we hold on?
Sorry, kids.
Dan, we're cursing. There's children in the backseat.
Jen is nice. She's very nice. She's smart. Like, there's not a downside, and that almost makes it worse. In a lot of ways.
It does make it worse. That makes me angry. You're absolutely right. when a person is like super good looking, like these two clearly are, and then you want them to have, like, God gives out gifts, in like, if you're going to be good looking, maybe your personality, you're going to be like a bag of rocks. You know what I mean? But if the person is good looking and they got a good personality and they're talented, and it's like, you know what, it's enough with you. Like, why can't, like, it's too much. Am I wrong?
Well, I think the older we get too, I don't think it's really in our favor as much. So I would say that.
Yeah, when you get older, that's definitely true.
That father time is the great.
Very young.
Father time is the great evener. Like, you got quite a few years before you hit the wall, but the wall will come. The wall's coming.
The wall will come.
The wall.
What about the older guys or older women that are, I don't know, 55, 60, and they're in tip-top shape?
What are you talking about? I've never seen one.
Like
I don't know what you're talking about.
Right?
See,
or Matthew McConaughey.
Here's about Matthew McConaughey. Yes, it's when we watch movies and we see guys like Matthew McConaughey and Tom Cruise. These guys, they're paid. Their whole job is to pay to look that good.
That's true.
They get paid massive amounts of money to have private trainers. Their whole life is being able to look good, and they focus on it every single day. We're talking about the average people like me and Dan, who life just beats down on them on a daily basis. Well, and it's like,
there's one thing I will say. As a man, as you get older, things get easier. Whereas as a woman, they get harder.
That is so true. I got it. That's true. That's so unfair to women.
For younger people, it's much easier for women. Like a woman your age, Jen, 30, 25, 30, you got the world by a string, right?
Yeah.
Whereas a dude, no matter how good looking he is, in his 20s, okay, some people are like him, whatever. But when you're an older guy, if you're single, do you know how few single guys at 50 there are who are not weird or don't have problems and who are successful? Like, I'm not a good looking guy, but if I were single, I would be sought after because I don't have children. I'm weird, but not in a bad way. And
yeah, but it's like he said, he's got a standoffish vibe about him. So that would be,
that would be a downer. That would be a negative.
Well, Dan would have to come out of his shell a little bit.
I would.
So would alcohol help in that matter? Can we get him boosted up? And like,
alcohol always helps.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I haven't seen Dan drink that heavily though.
Ever. Do you bring Dan? Let me ask you. Do you bring Dan to these football games at college?
I'm trying to think. We've been to
I've seen them at games before. We never hung out at a game.
Yeah.
Jen's usually busy, like seeing like 100 different people she knew and who were on the dance team.
Jen's extremely popular, right? So she's running around like she probably has a ton of friends and super popular. Okay. And Dan is like the bridge troll who like has like no friends.
Correct.
And he creeps around the alma mater like, oh my God, you know what I mean? But Jen is definitely like this social butterfly.
You know what I thought was very interesting when I met Jen too is that she's definitely way more attractive than me. So I don't.
That's debatable. You're a very handsome man,
Micah. You're a handsome man.
Let me tell you something. Yeah, you're extremely good looking.
But let me say this: this was always like very shocking to me. Was always like I don't know if it's just the way I grew up or my personality or whatever. I always had 3 best friends, like growing up from 10 years old and on, that I could trust my life with. And I had acquaintances, but I didn't really hang out with anybody else besides those 3 friends. And then we had our, a group of people or whatever.
Right.
Jen, like that was in high school. And then I still stayed friends with them. I still would do anything, for them to this day. But Jen always, even in college, I felt like I was in high school walking around with her because it was like, oh, hey, like college, I have my headphones in. Like it's a massive school. You don't know like everybody, right?
Yeah.
But she was saying hi to everybody, knew everybody. But I found it interesting. She never had like a couple just really, really close friends. Everybody was always...
Yeah, I would say like most of my
kind of surface level.
Well, women don't do that too well.
Pan over to her. I want to hear what she says about that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like I would say for the most part, high school and in college, like probably a good handful of friends who were like maybe like just past the surface level friendships, and then everybody else was acquaintances. But as far as like lifelong like depth, like true depths of friendships, like it has been difficult for me to keep and maintain and like foster those. Like for whatever reason, I don't know if it's like my pace of life is pretty fast with Micah. We're very busy, so maybe that's part of it. We got married very young. Like we were the anomaly in Gainesville when we went to college. Like we got married at 21 and everyone's like, oh my gosh, you guys are crazy. But I felt like depth wise, back to what he was saying, like he's got 3 super tight, like thick as thieves, like everything through life together. And I have maybe like 1 and like maybe see them here and there, but nothing like the depth he has. So,
I mean, I think that's something weird about guys and girls, right? Like, so it is kind of stereotypical and true for guys to have these really tight bro friends, right? That were like, right. But then like women, especially good looking younger women, can be, I mean, it's a stereotype, but maybe there's something to it, can be like a little like they don't like each other, and there's a very surface level kind of friendship. Am I off base?
They're very catty with each other.
Catty, yeah. Absolutely, and like low key.
Oh shit! We just lost them.
Oh, they must have.
Dan, you hit me.
They'll come back. He must have hit it with his thumb. Yeah, I thought this would be easier because they're 30, so it's not weird talking to them about this,
Yeah.
Whereas,
so Dan just brought in like a 30. I mean, it's like a. Yeah, you hit me with those. Like, I never have any idea who Dan's going to bring into the room, whatever. But they were a
No,
good young
Jen,
couple.
I met Jen. I just remember thinking, what must life be like for this girl? Because not only that, but she's like 5'10". Like, so
tall,
and,
leggy.
yeah, so
like
she was on the dance team, and she would tell me stories about older guys who like knew all this stuff about her, because they don't publish anything about these girls other than their first name. Like, that's it. But people,
yeah, but if you're a creepy guy, you're gonna find out. That's gonna be your hobby.
Yeah. So, but when I met Jen, I remember thinking, okay, something's got to give here. She's gonna be a bitch, or she's
right.
like she's just super nice, and here they are. I'll get them.
He's gonna have like a wooden leg or something.
Sorry.
Or like whatever.
Hey,
they're back. They're back.
Of course.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm actually hanging out with these guys next month at a baseball game. They'll be here for the weekend. I will.
Oh no! Are you bringing Dan out to the public?
I'm gonna put a few beers down. Maybe we'll have a good old time. Mila and I are gonna reminisce about my dearly departed dog Farty that she probably doesn't remember. She's looking at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah.
No? You remember the
I still have that video. I have that video of her screaming Farty at my dog.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
You will love to see the video.
Good luck with Dan at the baseball game. I'll say that.
No, we'll have a good time. It's a public, what am I going to do?
You're going to bring him out in public. Make sure he behaves, you know what I mean? You might want to give him some pointers. Hey, Dan, don't look so don't grimace. You know what I mean? Like, cheer up a little.
I can use it. I could definitely use it.
Dan just looks like anti-human. Like
anti-human.
He doesn't want any humans around him at all.
Yeah, I think that's
fairly accurate, though. That's fairly
fair.
accurate.
I mean, look, it is what it is. I agree.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to be near human beings. No.
Well, please, Micah, please take pictures. Please take pictures of the two of you, like selfies. Like, I know he gets very uncomfortable with selfies. So if you get like drunk, and like you like take selfies of you smiling next to him, and have him looking just like the way he does, like right now.
Oh yeah.
Like sort of like,
He's not gonna be happy. That's for sure.
No, what are you talking about? No, baseball games are fun.
Baseball game.
We'll have a good time at the baseball game.
He's gonna focus on whoever's sitting behind him or next to him that's gonna bother him, and he's gonna focus on that.
Hold on, I'm about to share the video of Mila. Ready?
Hold
on.
I'm laughing because I'm reading Bruce, your name at the bottom. What does it say? Bruce the what?
The Goy. Our name of our podcast is Heeb and Goy. I'm Heeb.
And just by the way, the guy that's wearing this massive cross, he's a Goy.
You know, these guys are Goys. Are you crazy? All right,
these guys are Goy as hell. I mean, this guy. Okay, here we go.
Can you guys see this?
Oh yeah, Mila, look.
Oh my God, that's Farty.
Yeah, you are tiny.
Mila, you're so little.
Look how big Farty is.
Well, Farty hated me with the heat of 1,000 suns.
Look, Mila.
Oh, then the pig. That's Wilbur.
Is this the first time the little girl sees a pig in real life? It's got to be.
Yeah.
Farty. She just said Farty.
Oh wow.
Maybe like 1.5, 2.
Yeah,
see, kid, I told you. I wasn't lying.
Wow, look at Dan having a nice human interaction with
No.
I
generally do not like children, but I like this
generally.
kid. She's a cool kid, and I have not met their other kid yet.
Right.
Oh, you're gonna love Titus.
He might be sleeping right now.
Wait, I'm gonna hook you guys up with my tickets for one of those games, and that kid's gonna love it. You're right behind the catcher.
So that way you're on the TV broadcast and you could
they'll be on the broadcast. They froze up. Look at that. I can't believe how big that kid is. Oh my God.
I can't believe that child seat probably cost $3,000.
Yeah, no, kids are expensive, man.
Kids are, hey, how much of those child seats cost that they're sitting in? Is the one that little, it must be that thing that's $3,000. It's got to be $3,000.
That's how much 2 daycare payments a week are.
Yeah, we pay more than our mortgage a month for childcare. Yeah.
You can't leave them in a box at home or nothing like that. Like it doesn't work that way. Like,
I wish.
No,
you know what? God bless you two for keeping the human species alive, because Dan and I, the family tree ends here. I'm done. He's done. So, and you know what else is good? These people are producing more good-looking people.
Yeah,
because they're both good-looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't like get bridge trolls like us to fucking reproduce. Like, who don't need it. No one's looking for that.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. I wanted to
Bruce,
hear a
did
little
you-
bit of your POV. I appreciate it. I'll let you guys go, but I will be in touch, and we will see you next month. And you're
It's a
about to be my best
pleasure.
friend, Micah. I'm about to hire a builder. I'm about to hire a builder for my house, and I'll be calling you a lot.
Yeah,
Micah and
let's
Jen,
do
it's a
it.
pleasure
You
meeting
call
you
me.
too.
Yeah, you too, Bruce.
What's that?
I said, call me, text me, whatever you got to do as soon as you get rolling with the builder.
Yeah, I'll be in touch, man. I bought my RV. We're moving on the property in an RV. I'll give you that story.
Hey, listen,
later.
take your business chat offline. This
Yes.
is not
Business chat.
You
We're
know,
about to
just-
sell a bunch of houses. Actually, Micah's about to make some money because we're selling houses.
Yeah,
good for him.
This is true.
Yeah, you need it. You need the next biggest child seat, right? The next one's like $4,000
I
for the
know,
one with the
I know.
Bluetooth
Well,
and the
Yeah.
Now I'm looking at a truck. Unfortunately, I hate spending money, but it's
He
killing.
does. He's a Heeb in that way, Bruce.
He must. I was going to say the same thing. If this guy hates spending money, that's a
Yeah,
Heeb
but he's
trait.
not a Jew.
Yeah.
Not a Jew.
No, he's clearly not. I mean, look at this guy. I mean, you know, the chain is unbelievable. Hey, dude, let me see that chain. Pan down.
Well,
What's
he's
going on?
Italian.
It's
He's Italian,
just a
man.
Hold
He's
on.
Italian.
Well, but is that? Hold on. Is that one of those little teeth, like the swivelly tooth? Like, oh, that's a Jersey Shore thing right there. This guy. Wow, dude, you're really. Oh, wow, nice. Oh, look at this guy. Oh,
He's Italian. He is Italian.
it's good for him. Good for him.
Yeah, it's unfortunate it was raining, or else we would have been doing this on the beach. That probably wouldn't have been any better.
No.
Because then the shirts are off, right? The shirts
No,
are
no
off.
shirts off. No shirts off. Shirts
Come
off.
on. All right.
All right, guys. You guys drive safe. I'll
Nice
see
meeting
next
you.
month. We'll hang out.
All right, Bruce. Nice meeting you. All
Nice
right,
meeting
Dan.
you guys.
All right, talk
We'll
to
see
you.
you later.
See ya. Wow. So Dan brought in a very attractive family,
Yeah.
a young
No,
family.
I have a good time with them because Jen, Jen she's so nice and but she has this one thing like we call her the buzzkill because like she's really serious, like she's just very serious about stuff. Like
Should bring the room down.
a little bit, like not in a bad way, but like we'll joke with her that like Micah and I will be joking around and being stupid and typical guy shit, and so I have this buzzkill graphic I put up whenever she says something, but that's really all you can say. But she's like super nice. Like there's just not a lot of negatives. So I find going through life like that fascinating, and it's interesting that she would have issues with. It's not surprising that like some 44-year-old, some 44-year-old teacher in the Brevard County schools would be annoyed. That just doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and like honestly, if they're a straight old white guy, there's definitely going to be some sort of, I hate to say it, some sort of like fucked up like jealousy, like, oh, look at this attractive young woman, fuck this, like why does she get to have it all, you know what I mean? And that is a fucked up thing about human nature for sure, but hopefully
I don't feel bad for people like that, because I mean it would suck dealing with that, but at the same time you won the lottery. I mean you hit the genetic lottery. You just did.
Oh, you don't feel bad for people like, well, that's why I said what I did.
No.
When Jen said, she's like, yeah, this is really terrible what I have to deal with. These people are I feel like they don't take me seriously. And I'm thinking to that's why I said, I'm like, Dan, that's okay. If I look like that, don't take me seriously.
Yeah,
please.
Yeah.
I mean, just give me.
Don't get me wrong.
Anything to not be fucking horrified when I look in the mirror would be like nice.
Yeah.
I
mean, don't get me wrong. I feel bad. Like they shouldn't do that to her because she's super nice and she did bust her ass. But at the same time, it's like,
is that really the worst fucking thing that you?
No. Jen's got it pretty good. I mean, she's they're just such a nice couple, both of them. Like, and like I'm not a kid guy, but I've hung out with
I
them.
know. I was severely okay. As soon as you brought them up, and I saw their kids in the back seat, I was instantly like recoiled. Like, what the fuck? Why are there children? Why are there children on the Heeb and Goy show?
Well, I'll tell you, Bruce. They are.
Are you working? Hold on. Are you working to be a better person?
No. But
okay.
I do appreciate the rare few parents who are good parents and who truly want to be parents versus just shitting out a kid, right?
Yeah.
And these two, they are that. they really do put a lot of time and effort into being good parents, into raising good people. And look, I didn't want to have children. It wasn't for me, but I respect the hell out of people who do it for those reasons, because it's not common. It's not common.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And they were delightful. Well, I am working on myself. And so I do try to.
You're never going to like kids, man.
Huh?
You're never going to like kids.
I don't hate them. I used to hate them.
Oh, so you've improved in that way. Yeah.
Yes, dudes. Baby steps.
Yeah.
And there are kids like, dude, there's kids at the Banditos game all the time.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I'm not one of these guys that, normally people fawn over kids, they, oh my God, a kid, but I just sort of like, hey, how's it going, Junior? And I have a little interaction and I move on. That is a huge improvement.
Yeah, I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I generally, first of all, I don't hate the kid. I just assume from the jump that the most likely scenario is that they're shitty parents, they don't care, and the kid's going to be obnoxious because the parent don't care, right?
Well, if the kid, if the kid's running around the food store, like that's the restaurant running around kid is always our
I just sort of assume that's going to be the case, but these two, I just very much respect them as people and as parents, because I know how much they care about raising children and being a parent. I mean, Jen works in schools. I mean, so that's a lot of it. And so like, I like these people. I actually set up a little custodial account for their daughter where I throw a few bucks.
What?
Yeah. She'll get it when she's 18. It comes out of, so he's involved.
I want a custodial account.
Well, no, you're too old. He's involved in NCWT. He's one of our NCWT partners.
Oh, he is. Oh, you should have started with that.
Whenever we have, so with NCWT, if we sell a house or we have a little extra money in rent, I throw $10 in.
Does he know that I'm one of the OG guys and that I helped craft the brand identity?
I have to tell him. He does know about you. I have to tell him that was you.
Okay, because I'm kind of a big deal in the world.
100%.
Yeah,
you have the I sent you the paperweight, right?
Yes, I got the acrylic paperweight. Yes. Yes.
I love that.
It started, let me tell the audience, this started with, we're going to fly everybody to have some sort of big, like Vegas for all the people. And then eventually it was an acrylic paperweight. Not that I'm complaining.
Yeah.
But it did make sense that
first of all,
there's no way we're all going to go to fucking Vegas. It would have been
tough to get everyone to go any one place, because like one guy's in Arizona, you're in Arizona, I'm in Florida, one guy's in Philly.
No, it's a pain in the ass to. I hate organizing things like that. I hate so much trying to organize getting like adults to get together and do something on a certain time. It's maddening. Like, are you okay Thursdays at 5? Like, never going to work out.
It was just never going to happen. And so I'm like, let's take the money.
Dan, I love my acrylic paperweight. I love it.
It was a 10-year anniversary of the company. We're actually getting ready to sell all our stuff, but it was.
I looked at it and I'm like, showed it to Ro. I'm like, look at this. Do you know who gets this? Not just everybody.
No.
Only the top. Look, only the top guys.
They had only 10 of those made. That's it.
But a very prestigious award. She's like, all you did is draw the logo. I'm like, no. I said no. I crafted. I said, look, I crafted the brand identity. That's how you put it.
And you had the Easter eggs in there. The Easter eggs were critical.
Crucial.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah.
So what else, Dan? What do we got? So that was interesting. We went over some shit that we're upset about. You brought in a handsome young couple. I hope that they walked away from that. What do you think they're talking about in the car right now? Like, wow, those two have a low self-esteem, or yes, they're both very ugly, or like what? What do you think? What do you think they're talking about now?
I think those two are pretty mature people. Like, a lot of good-looking people aren't necessarily mature, but they are. I think they had a good time with it and probably laughed. And they're not thinking anything. They're getting home with their kids and gotta get ready for school tomorrow and all that crap.
They seemed like they were enjoying themselves on the podcast.
Yeah, they're fun people. I'm juiced. I'll see them 3 weeks, I think, something like that.
Okay.
They're coming in for a baseball series. I'll hang out with them a little bit.
I have an idea. Does Jen have any single friends that are around 30 years old, 25 years old, maybe still single, maybe no kids, that she could that she could say, hey, because if she's hot, she's going to have hot friends. Oh, yeah. And that age range, quite frankly, that age range might be a little bit less problematic for us.
Oh, of course. No, that was my whole idea behind getting her, is that it's not weird on any level to talk to them because they're not children. These are definitely adults. Like, look, they're young enough to be our kids, but
25 to 30 is a good sort of window.
I'll have to find out if any of her dancer friends are single. I don't know. Probably not in that demographic.
Somehow, I don't know why it would matter, but somehow it helps to think about
it. Shouldn't matter, but yeah, in a weird way, I guess you're right, because they don't have that extra thing going on in their life, you know?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's a fascinating topic. I mean, look, it is what it is, right? We're in a world where some people are good looking, some people aren't. It's the way it is. It's life. It's reality. I mean,
do you think we should like work on our self-esteem and like be like more comfortable on who we are?
So I do not look at it that way. I think that self-esteem to me is recognizing your strengths and your weaknesses, because everyone has both. And there's nothing wrong with saying I'm not very good looking. There's nothing wrong with saying it. It's like saying I'm not good at algebra, or I'm not good at accounting.
I would say that culturally that's shifting right now. You could say I'm not good at algebra, but I'm not good looking. What is good looking? That's shifting, and that's where you disagree with society.
I don't care what society says.
Yeah.
I like living in reality. And in reality,
you are hard fast staying to these social norms of what is good looking.
In reality, Dan is a strong 5.5. That's the reality. I mean, I'm not awful. I'm not terrible. And look, if you compare me to other 50, soon to be 51-year-olds, I'm probably better than a 5.5. I'm probably a 6.5.
So I wonder what would happen if like we could give ourselves ratings about what we look like, what we think we rate in general, all like as terms to all men or whatever, and then there'll be like a different rating on what you are within people within like a 10-year age range or something. Well,
that's the whole thing, is that you know, go to your high school reunion and you'll see what I mean. I mean, the range at our age, the range between good and bad is huge range. Like the worst person who's your age is going to look like they're 70. Right?
Yeah.
Because they smoked, they drank.
But see, it's getting bad for me because I'm 55 and like I'm aging. There's some dudes that I know who are like, you know, dudes in the Banditos and dudes at the gym who I know are like 55, 50 or something like that, that look like your friend Mika. That was like, they look like their face is completely toned and they don't have any wrinkles, and they're just
Bruce,
like,
but that's
how the fuck do you look like that,
but
bro?
For every one of those, there's 10 who are 350 pounds, who drink all the time.
Yeah.
Who have
there's a lot of 50, there's a lot of 55-year-olds who are just a mess. And it's like, oh my God. And so I do have this thing that I used to try to treat to make myself feel better. It's funny that Ro makes fun of me, but like compare yourself to the lowest denominator. You know, it helps you. So like, I'll find somebody that's 55 that sort of is really not so hot, and I compare myself to them, and I feel pretty good. It's like when I used to drink, I used to go to this bar, and these people were such drunks out there, like they would literally be falling down and smashing out their teeth because they're so drunk they just go down like a sack of bricks. And I would tell Ro, I don't have a problem. I'm not like this guy. I'm not like Cliff who falls down and loses his teeth. And she's like, really? You're gonna compare your drinking to this guy Cliff who falls down and loses his teeth, and say that like you're not that bad of a drinker? That's what I mean by comparing yourself to like the worst of the worst, just to make yourself feel better. Well, and it is a tactic that does work.
Funny you mention that, because so my wife is a bit of a neat freak, and I would consider myself to be an average clean person. So I'm not overly neat, but I'm not a complete slob, or I'm somewhere.
Average.
But compared to my wife, I am disgusting, right?
Right.
And so I like watching the show Hoarders, because
do you point to her and be like, look,
that is, and she's like, no. The thing is, she's been fortunate. She hasn't lived with true slobs, really. And like, you and I both know how the average person lives. Yeah. Like the normal, like just normal, not overly gross, but like, and I'm probably a little better than average. I'm like,
okay, you're better than average, and I'm definitely more slobbier than average, because I blame that on being an artist. I really do. But like, I'm definitely like slob level is way, like, I'm not a hoarder. and there's not like old rotisserie chickens in the corner rotting or anything like that. But I'm definitely a slob for sure. Like I'm not as neat as you.
You're not shitting in a bucket or in the house or peeing in a jug.
I'm not shitting in a bucket. And no, I don't have a piss jug. That we don't employ the piss jug here. No, we don't.
Yeah.
So Dan, we've been going on. Go ahead.
I like comparing myself to the worst of the worst too. I do.
It makes you feel better. If you're watching Hoarders and you're sitting there on the couch with Kara and you're watching Hoarders, and you see like the guy's got bags of poop and they're scraping up old dead cats underneath the mattress. You're like, you know what? You're like, hey, I don't have any flat cats around here. There's no old piss jugs. You don't have to hire like a hazmat crew to come here and clean my room. It's fine. Yeah. I remember I saw that one. You showed a shot when we had Christina on. You showed a shot of your kitchen, and me and Christina were making fun of your kitchen because it was like immaculate. It looked like a NASA clean room. Like that. And so that speaks to Kara's level. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, and it's fun. It's funny because, like I said, but back to what I was saying, self-esteem is an interesting topic. So for me, I would rather self-awareness. I would rather reality. And again, it's fine. And I'm not saying that I'm down on myself because I'm a strong 5.5. I'm saying I'm a strong 5.5. That's the reality. And I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you mean. Like, and as I get older and more mature, I'm cool with it and everything like that. Like adjusting into the role of being like a 55-year-old artist and stuff. And, I'm not going to look. There's a lot of people who like to live in the past, especially on Facebook, and it's fucking horrible. It's kind of like, Uncle Rico on Napoleon Dynamite, where he just watches himself playing football in the 80s. And he's like, just living that chapter over and over again. It's like, dude, you're never going to be that guy again, whatever.
No.
So I'm sort of comfortable being who I like. Yeah, I'm very comfortable who I am right now. And self-esteem, I've got a pretty decent self-esteem. It's not horrible. You know what I mean?
You're good.
But it has, like you said, more to do with more than appearance.
I think I think you and I are very similar in that way, is that we're comfortable in our own shoes and we recognize what our strengths are and what our weaknesses are.
And we're realistic about it too. Yeah. Not in denial about it, whatever.
No.
Like I know if I were to go like I know like I see an advertisement, they're having like a dance club, that I want to go see this DJ and I would like to go. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, but then there's this, what am I going to do? Put on a nice button down shirt and walk into some club? Like, I know what I look like. And I'm like, dude, I don't know if that's the thing. And that's kind of sad. But, whatever. I'm happy to be happy and healthy. And I'm, shit, it's rough out there. So we've been yentering it up for an hour and 12 minutes.
No, we're good. We had a nice show. I'm still going to keep working on the kids because I think that will be fun. But we'll see if we can.
Yeah, here's what I'm thinking. Let me just think. I think the avenue is to get after Jen's friends. If she's going to have a lot of friends, and if she's attractive, she's going to have attractive friends. And who cares if they have kids or husbands or boyfriends or what? But I would definitely be more interested in talking to that age range, 25 to 30. Like peak hot chick, you know what I mean? And just to ask them, because the questions we're going to ask them don't have really too much. I prefer if they didn't have a kid or married, because it's better if they're single. And just ask them because with some of the questions I wanted to ask, like, what's it like to walk down the street? Like, I'm fascinated. Like, if you're a good looking person like her, and you're just going to walk down the street, go from your car to Starbucks or whatever. Like, are there still construction dudes like hollering? Is that a thing? Are there people trying to chat you up? Like, what's that like? Do you get the stares? Because people are recoiling at me and you, right? They sort of like, so maybe it's an opposite thing, and it would be interesting. I mean, just that, what we were talking about with her was interesting.
Yeah, we'll work on some future segments. I like to keep it fluid.
I love it.
But that's
good test, Dan. Dan brought in some guests that I didn't know was going to. Young family showed up. They were nice. They were a wonderful couple.
No, they're super nice, man. I'm stoked. I haven't seen them in a while. They had a second kid since I've seen them. I haven't met the kid yet. They had he's a boy. So go to the baseball game, have a good old time. Yeah, it's coming up, man.
Uncle Dan.
Hey, look, when I like you, Uncle Dan's the best.
I can say that because Dan likes me, and he's very nice to me.
Yeah, it's true.
He's very
I'm
nice
basically
to me.
Uncle Dan to you, even though you're older than
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
He is Uncle Dan to me. That's 100% true.
Totally.
I'm very adolescent. It's true.
Very much so. So that's it. What do you anything fun on tap this week, or just more of the same?
So tonight I am going to have salmon with roe at 3, as we do every Sunday, and then I'm going to go to the Grateful Dead cover band tonight, which is always fun because I get to dance around.
Does Roe go with you to that?
Absolutely not. Are you crazy? She would never fucking go to that.
It's because she's not into that music.
She's not into people. I mean, no.
Okay. All right.
Me and Ro is an opposite attract situation in all things. We just fucking celebrated 21 years together.
Wow.
And we never argue. Like, it's fucking great. It's a great relationship. No marriage, no kids, but 21 years. And it's because of communication and time spent apart. Like, Bruce, go do your thing.
Yeah.
She's getting ready to leave to go do some tour in national parks and stuff like that. Go these 7-mile hikes every day in national parks. You think I want to go on a fucking 7-mile hike every day?
No.
You gotta be kidding me. No. I don't like walking to the fucking mailbox to get my mail.
No.
I will go to the gym. I go to the gym every day. But
yeah, well, that's good. You got more going.
What are you doing? What are you doing then?
Just getting ready to sell the house, man. Preparing the house for sale. Well, no fun.
Oh.
Really awful.
That means you got people walking through the house?
No, we haven't put it on yet. I have to get it ready. I have to prepare. I have to declutter, throw a bunch of shit away.
Declutter. This place is probably immaculate as it stands.
No, not in my areas. I'm cluttery.
All right.
I'm cluttery.
Right.
I am. I'm admitted.
Well, good luck with that, Dan. And it's been a pleasure speaking with you again.
Yes, it's been lovely. Show 15 in the books, 1-5. We're closing in on number 20.
I'm always curious, what are you going to be your graphics that you put, like you usually put together like a cover for it, and there's usually graphics and a word or two. You know what? Surprise me.
I might have to get one of her old pictures as a dancer.
Oh, you got to do that because when
it was public. I mean, I don't think she'd be mad because it was on like the UF website.
But when you did the last one, they said mezuzah on an RV. That was hysterical.
Well, yeah. Dude. Did you ask Ezra about the mezuzah?
Oh, I absolutely asked Ezra.
What did Ezra say?
Ezra immediately knew what it was. Of course, Ezra does not have a mezuzah on his RV. on the RV, but it has something to do with. It has to be a permanent home, right? Like he's very Jewish. He knows all about.
All right.
It has. That's why you don't put it on a car, because it's
but these RVs mostly don't move. I mean,
but Ezra says,
if it has wheels, you don't put the mezuzah.
Thank you.
All right. Fair enough. All right. Good to know. All right.
And the fact that it was on an angle has something to do with it as well. I called that.
I didn't know that. I didn't know you did. Yeah, that's beyond my knowledge. Ezra knows more than me.
Gotta have Ezra.
I did, however, while packing up my old office, I did find my yarmulke that I wore at my bar mitzvah in 1986.
Oh my God!
I should send that to you.
I think you should wear it on the podcast and show me what that looks like.
Oh my God!
I think that would be. Oh my God! Is it special? Does it have like a special like embroidery on it?
No, it was the ones we gave away. You do what you do at the bar mitzvahs. You do the swag yarmulkes, which is just a regular yarmulke, nylon thing, but inside it says Daniel Richmond's bar mitzvah, whatever date, 1986.
Oh my God!
I gotta find it.
Would it be sacrilege for someone who's not Jewish to wear a yarmulke? I would think so.
Well, no, you're supposed to wear one in the temple, whether I'm Jewish or not.
So if I was a goy, like I'm a goy, and I were to go to temple with you, and I've never been. If
you went to my bar mitzvah in 1986, they would have handed you a yarmulke at the door.
I went to a bar mitzvah in 1986, and I never got a yarmulke. I went to David Schumann's bar mitzvah.
You asked that.
But wait.
You asked that. Oh,
hold on. It was just the after party of it. I didn't actually go. It was just.
You didn't go to this. All right. No, the ceremony.
This was just the food and the social thing.
You went to the party. I'm talking about the ceremony.
Yeah. No, I did not go to the ceremony.
I don't blame you.
No, I did not go to that.
I don't blame
I just
you.
went for the food and to meet Bubby and the whole family. That's what I did.
Oh,
Oh, this is Bruce. He's Dave. This is David's freshman college roommate. He's a goy.
He's a goy.
But he's very nice, and that was me.
Yeah. Yeah, I will unearth that for next time. And we'll
I love it.
I'll come up with some new topics, and we'll see everyone next
week. Next week I will be here Sunday, but this Saturday I'm selling the death truck, and that's what I will talk a lot about.
Are they coming to you? Or are you going to them?
No, I have to go all the way out to California.
Okay, so don't stop. Don't tell me anymore. I want to wait. I want to hear the whole story.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
I love it. Because you're going. That's a pain in the ass. They should come to you. But
it's a major thing, but
does it run?
Oh yeah, it's a turnkey.
Well, why can't the schmuck come get it?
Because it's in California.
So come get it and then drive it back.
The truck is in California.
Oh.
I'm in Arizona. The truck's in California. You don't have the
truck at your house.
No.
All right. Don't tell me anymore. Wait till next week.
It's good.
This is good.
It's going to be good.
All right, all. It's been lovely. Peace out.